The budget is the single most important bill this legislature considers each year, and it deserves the most transparent process, not the least. There was a time in the 1990s when lawmakers had several days to review the appropriations bill before committee hearings, and additional time before passage. Today, committee hearings routinely occur the very same day the budget is introduced. The budget has grown from roughly $15 billion to nearly $61 billion, yet the time available to review it has steadily disappeared. The budget got 4 times bigger. The time to read it got smaller. Mr. Speaker, this isn't an abstract complaint about process. Look at what's actually in this bill, a bill many of us only received a final look at in the last day. This budget raises taxes by $765 million, despite promises of no new taxes. It increases spending by $1.9 billion, $15 million more than even the governor's own proposal back in March. It includes $253 million in new district-specific spending. Yes, I just gave it another new euphemism. On top of $358 million in supplemental spending pushed through separately, $611 million in total. And the so-called surplus we keep hearing about isn't really $6 billion. Once you account for that supplemental spending, it's closer to 5.7, propping up a budget that still carries a $3 billion structural deficit. You cannot call something a surplus when the state is at the same time $3 billion in the hole. And while we're finding $611 million for legislative pet projects, school districts up in the Highlands are being told there just isn't enough. In West Milford, an elementary school is closing. In Jefferson, talent and gifted programs and athletics are on the chopping block. These aren't abstractions either, Mr. Speaker. These are real communities. These are real kids. These are real programs being cut because the budget leaves them underfunded by the state's own formula. If we have time to find money for Christmas tree projects, we have time to fix the school funding formula. They need help, and they needed it before this bill was rushed to the floor. These aren't small details buried on page 400. These are the fundamental numbers that tell taxpayers whether their government is being honest with them about where their money is going. And under the current process, most of us, and certainly the public, don't have the time to find them before we're asked to vote. This should not be a Republican or a Democratic issue. Every member of this House should want enough time to read the largest bill we'll vote on. Every taxpayer deserves to know how nearly $61 billion will be spent before, not after, that money is appropriated. We don't need to reinvent the budget process. We simply need to restore the principles that once governed it. Adequate public review, sufficient time for legislative debate, and meaningful transparency before the votes are cast. Mr. Speaker, transparency shouldn't depend on who's in power. It should be a permanent feature of the legislative process. If we truly believe in accountable government, then we should welcome reforms that give lawmakers, the public, more information, not less, before we vote. So I urge my colleagues to not just think about what's in this bill, but about the process that produced it. Because next year, the year after, and every year going forward, we will be faced with the same choice. Rush it through in the dark, or do right by the people we represent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.